Good, I think it's still morning, everyone. It's afternoon, actually. My name is Aniedi Udo Ubong, and I know we're kind of like behind time, so I'm not going to take too much of your time. I'm here to just talk about from problems to possibility, unlocking growth with AI. This is a topic that's very dear to me, and for me, I'll tell you a little bit of who I am. Next slide. So my name is Aniedi. I schooled here in FGC Port Harcourt. That's where I met all my bad friends. And then after that, I went to University of Uyo, and I've kind of had a checkered career with startups, small businesses, hustling on my own. And then eventually, about 10 years ago, I joined Google in Nigeria, been with Google for roughly 9.5 years. And 3 years ago, I moved to the US in a similar role. And now I think I'm on my way back. But you can find me online at Aniedi Udo, Instagram, IG, Twitter or X, Gmail. But mostly I talk a lot about startups, newbies. I'm quite excited about communities of people growing in technology, taking their first steps. And I'm also part of the founding team and organizers of Akwa Ibom Tech Week. And you all are invited, especially Equinix. I use the right word, right? All right, next slide. There's nothing extraordinary I'm going to talk about here. Everything I'm going to talk about or mention is stuff you probably already know. I'm just going to reorganize it. I wouldn't say whether I used Gemini or ChatGPT, but it's pretty straightforward. Also, the slides were done this morning, so they're not very nice. And you can always follow the link yourself if you go to that short URL. Next slide. Okay, so I'm looking for a problem, right? Now, when I say I'm looking for a problem, it's not in the sense of Nigeria, like I'm looking for trouble. But I'll explain that later. But just let that stick. I'm somebody who is constantly looking for problem. I can actually be very problematic. So people who are in some WhatsApp groups with me know I'm kind of like a problem. But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Next slide. So, if we can make this a little bit interactive, it will be much better. And I know that if there's a mic in the audience, or you can just raise up your hand and shout at the top of your voice. What is a problem? Who can tell me in a very simple terms? I've tried to make sure that this presentation is not technical jargons, it's not anything extraordinary. Also to make you know that to work at Google or any of these big companies, you don't need to be super smart. You can go to FGC Port Harcourt, University of Ikpa Road, Uyo, and still end up in Silicon Valley. So what is a problem? Wahala, thank you. What else? Yes? Bottleneck? The lady?
In the society, people are looking for a solution to.
Something people are looking for a solution to. Yes, yes, what else? A challenge? Shake. Is Sakma a problem? Really? In Port Harcourt? I didn't know. All right, next slide. But really a problem is just pain point, an unmet need, could be a gap in the market. What is a possibility? What's a possibility? Any takers? Solution to a problem, an opportunity to create value, something you can do. And as a matter of fact, the way the world is going with technology, with bandwidth, the possibility of working for an American company from home, was this possible 30 years ago? Absolutely not. So the first thing about possibility is that it can be things you have never imagined. And what is going to be possible tomorrow may not look anything like what was yesterday. There's a famous quote from Henry Ford, one of the inventors of the steam engine, and he was talking about things in the 30s, and he said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said they wanted a faster horse. Meanwhile, he gave them a car, right, or the steam engine. So when you think of problems, next slide, and when you think of the possibilities, sometimes they're not exactly one-to-one, sometimes it's not very obvious, but the truth is for every amazing opportunity, for every great successful product, for every great company, great founder, for every billionaire, let's even go down to money terms, for anyone who's delivered impact as an organization, as a social entrepreneur, they think of a problem, They sort of envision the possibility of a solution, and they drive very hard at it. So the first thing is you need to be insanely connected about the problem, or connected to the problem. And how many of us have had one form of a problem or the other today? Nobody. My own good though. Literally every single day you encounter problems. And by default, we get frustrated, we get annoyed, and we try to avoid problems. We run away from that's why I jackpad. We are all running away from our problems. But when you even look at the migration statistics, you find out that we are running away from a problem. The most profitable entrepreneurs, the smartest ones are running to the country. They're bringing money, they're bringing business. Pure water is a possibility. What do we have before pure water? If you can remember that, I will leave this stage. God, how old are you now? Don't be revealing your age. We had ice water before pure water. And there was a problem with ice water. Can anybody tell me what the problem was? It was not, is pure water pure? Standards Organization of Nigeria may be here to give comment. If there's no SON stamp for that pure water, it's not pure. But really speaking, you could not authenticate, or you really didn't know whether the water was clean or not. You couldn't trace it, you couldn't find it, you didn't even know whether it was prepared just right there in the rain or in the gutter or anything. So the possibility, the problem, people needed to be refreshed. People were thirsty, people needed to drink water on the go. But with that same problem, the solution that existed at the time, which was the possibility of just tying the water and hawking it on the street, it came with its own problems. And those who solved the second problem probably cleaned out. And now everybody is doing some sort of pure water or bottled water thing. But that's not a problem. But there's a problem in that sort of business model. Next slide. So I'm looking for problems. So that's like, what are those unmet gaps in the market? What are those needs? How many of you can remember, and I'll say can remember, walking into a shop, paying for something through bank transfer, and they say you cannot leave the shop until Madam confirms that you have gotten the alert? Who has ever experienced that before? Who is still experiencing that? The shop doesn't have money point or OP. That's not possible, no? But you see what they did with those products? They literally brought the SMS from Madam's phone and put it on the POS. And you created $1 trillion company. I think Garden Business School is still here. Those are unicorns. Something as simple as that. This is how frustrating it is. You walk in somewhere, you make a payment, despite the fact that we didn't have fiber cable then, somehow your payment goes through. And when your payment eventually goes through, you have been debited. Your money has not been reversed, and you're stuck in a supermarket, and they say you cannot go until Madam gets the alert. And then somebody thought of that and said, why don't I just put the alert on the POS? And right there and then you get the alert on the POS and you walk away. So when you walk around, every problem you encounter is a possibility to build the next money point. How many of you know about buying on Instagram, seller, send you WhatsApp, DM for price? Kelvin and his team built Bumper, the Shopify of Africa. And it doesn't necessarily look like the Shopify of Canada, but it solves a problem that people who are small businesses, who don't have a website, who can use WhatsApp and Instagram, can sell. And when I said Kevin is my destiny helper and Victoria affirmed it, we know what we're talking about. So one of the things about moving from problem to possibility, for me, is the first thing, is the mindset shift. If you are the kind of person that's running away from problems or running away from money, people pay for solutions to their problem. You will pay to be fed. You will pay for someone to wash your car, to launder your clothes, to repair your toilet. So every time there is a problem, for that problem to be solved, somebody is providing some value to you. Probably collecting money from you or collecting some kind of emotional debt. If somebody comes and does something for you for free, but he solves your problem, you owe that person something. The day he really asks you for something or you have something you can give them, nothing's going to stop you. So let's move on. So now this is where it becomes very techy, but I'll still keep it very simple. And I promise you, you'll be so upset that I had to come all the way from wherever to talk about this. Innovation and invention is what is the next step when it comes to value creation when you've identified a problem. If you just identify a problem and you nag about it, you talk about it, you've not done anything. In fact, sometimes they say a problem that is identified is half solved. I don't really agree. Just nagging or arguing about the problem doesn't really do anything for you. Who can tell me what is innovation? Next slide. Anybody in the audience? 1 word, 2 words. What do you think innovation is? Create. What else? Did you hear that? Solution. Improve. Now we're getting to where I'm going. Improve. That's the better way to. This guy, did you see my slides already? Let's go to the next slide. Next slide. What is an invention? Creation. So is innovation, invention, somebody said create the other time, now you said invention is create. Where are we? Are we now more confused than when I got on stage? Never done before. Bring to life, still solution. You're doing the overall, general market. Anyway, but I want to keep it very simple. Next slide. And I'm going to give you innovation simplified. The way I understand it, the way after so many sessions and courses, and I heard someone speak about this, I think he was at the time the CEO of OPE. He gave this definition of innovation in a way that I will never forget. And I promise you, when you leave this Startup South 10, Startup South X, you're never going to forget this. But the way we define invention within some of my circles, my company, people I talk to, I think of invention as bringing something new. Didn't exist before. You invent maybe electricity. You invent, I don't know what it is. But that thing never existed. Innovation, on the other hand, is taking something that exists and just improving upon it, making it better, making it nicer, probably making it cheaper, doing something extra to something that already exists. You see, I was speaking to a couple of people recently at a boot camp, and I said there are a couple of things that are not very, they don't really agree with our Nigerian way of, I won't call it education, I'll call it schooling, because I feel there's a difference between school and education. We vilify copying, right? And copying is not necessarily giraffing, right? That is wrong, right? We don't do open book exam really in Nigeria. But copying is not essentially a bad thing, especially when you improve upon it. So one of the easiest ways to innovate, if you don't have the cerebral capacity to invent something new, you're not an Einstein or a Newton or an Elon Musk. Did Elon Musk invent? I don't think so. He's more of an innovator. Take something, make it better. Mark Zuckerberg, as they call him. Zuck is great at copying and improving upon stuff. Absolutely great. So, invent, create something new. Innovate, make something better for a reason. Next slide. Many times when you talk about an innovative product, or you're talking to a team and they say you need to be innovative, or be innovative, innovate. We're looking at this. Make it fast, easy, safe, quick, cheap, secure, strong, simple. And yes, if you build a product or you add something to your existing product, like we talked about MoneyPoint and talked about Bumper, and there are thousands of examples out there, home and abroad, making something fast, easy, safe, quick, cheap, strong, simple is actually a very good way to have a product that could go viral, that a lot of people could use and could make you a ton of money. If you look at all the products you use now that you rely on, that you love, that you can't get your hands off, they're probably doing all of this and more. But in my opinion, that is not innovation. Next slide. To innovate, if you're going to start today as a startup, as a one-man business, same things, but why would people take your product over the other product? It's not only fast, it's faster. It's not only easy, it's easier. It's not only safe, it's safer. If you find a safer way to go from point A to point B, you take that one. If you find a quicker way to get to shop and leave the shop, you do that. If I own a business and I find out that if I use this kind of bank account, when people pay, they get frustrated, they can't leave the business, and somebody walks up to me and says, this POS, if you put it here, when the person pays, you get an SMS, confirmation immediately, the person can leave. Customers are happy. So that means if I am here and I'm selling the same thing as my neighbor, and I have this innovative POS terminal, I will sell more than my neighbor. Because people will get stuck there trying to confirm their transaction from Madam or Oga. So, faster, easier, safer, quicker, cheaper. Be careful about cheaper. It's not always a race to the bottom. I don't want Victoria to come and say, I was listening to your presentation. Sometimes you can provide a more expensive service. But if it is faster, easier, more secure, people will use it. People will pay a little extra for comfort, for convenience, for security, right? Next slide. So what is innovation? It's just ER. Not emergency room. I know there are some doctors in the room. If you are building a product, if you are starting a startup, when people come to pitch to me, I should invest in their business, I should mentor them, I should introduce them to Google, and they say, I'm building another payment system, I'm building another stack or whatever, another ride-hailing app, another loan app, whatever. The first question I ask, what's the ER in your product? Is it faster than Uber? Is it easier than Lemfi? Is it safer than Bumper? Is it quicker than Money Point? What is the ER of your product? If I'm in a team meeting, we're having a stand-up, and somebody says, I came up with this brilliant idea, my product manager is talking to me, blah, blah, blah. Project manager is saying we should do this, and say we should build this, we should invest in this, we should hire this person to add this to the product. I don't want grammar. I don't want the technology. I don't care whether I use this cloud, blockchain, AI, and all that kind of stuff. Just tell me, what's the ER? Now, I cheated here a bit. Next slide. It's not just about ER, because some things you can't say convenienter. Or so it's really the more. So you get the concept. I want you to remember the ER, because I know you're not going to forget that. It's that same good, better, best. Safe, assisted, tallest, right? It's that simple. When you can clearly differentiate, you see, you go to these, there are startup events. They say, are you solving a real problem? What's your differentiation? What's your value proposition? What's your unique selling point? It's pretty easy when you finally break it down. What more are you offering the business, the consumer, the customer, that would make them switch from what they were doing before? That's true. Gigalayer, you know your Webbos is not cheaper, but it's more secure. And he charges a premium because he knows if you want to buy the cheap one, it's there. In this Port Harcourt, if you want to eat fisherman soup, there's the one of 500 naira, there's the one of 5,000 naira, and there's the one of 50,000 naira. Am I right or am I right? You choose where you want to go. So it's not always a race to the bottom. So what is the more that your product feature, your business, your startup, your team is bringing to the market that's going to make you become a unicorn, gazelle very soon? Next slide. So I told you that the slide is at the end of the day, you see this guy was just not the way he tell us. I knew this all before. When you think of taking problems to a possibility to grow your business, think of ER. What are you adding to the space, to the product, to the solution, to the venture? Right? And never in the history of human existence do we have what we have now. I work out of Silicon Valley. He was talking about it. I work for Google. I work for Alphabet. Right now, I'm kind of like between working remotely and working from home and unpaid time off. But I've been in Nigeria for 3 months. And some people don't know. But I have diligently executed everything I need to do anywhere. I woke up in New York this morning. I'm in Port Harcourt for a conference today. I was in Lagos yesterday. And every single time, I have stayed abreast with my job. So, next slide. I'll tell you what, it was not a mistake. Don't move it. This was the biggest problem I had in my career. And I think I got fired for this once, back when I worked for Paga in 2012. Every time I was asked to start a document, a project, a template, a report, file new, white screen. You don't know what to do next. The ideas are not flowing. You can't think of the first line to put down. What graph? What bullet points? You're looking for somebody to bounce your idea off. You're looking for a mentor. You're looking for someone really smart who can give you pointers where to start from. So everything I have led you from the beginning about problems, which you encounter every day, possibilities, which you see everywhere around you, which you have perfect examples you can allude to, down to deciding how are you going to be innovative, even if you can't be inventive. But you can also innovate and get IP around your innovation. It doesn't have to be completely brand new. When you get to this place I got to, where you don't know what to do, next slide, that's when you unlock the power of AI. Just open something like Gemini or ChatGPT and start prompting, asking questions. If you were an engineer tasked with the responsibility of doing this, how would you go about it? Assume that you are an expert, even to write this presentation. I told ChatGPT or Gemini, imagine you are an IT professional with 20 years experience, 10 years in big tech. You've been invited to a conference in Sub-Saharan Africa to talk about from possibility to problems. Give me a 10-slide outline of what you would want to talk about. So even that thing I'm doing is not me that wrote it, it's ChatGPT that wrote it to Gemini. But you see, this is the power of the tools that are at your disposal, and whether you use it or not, and come and join me in Silicon Valley and collect a rubber salary, or whether you stay back in Port Harcourt, it's your business. The tools are at your disposal, and the businesses that are making a ton of money, bringing that power to your home, they don't care whether you use it or not. When you pay your subscription, they collect their money. 30 days, they collect the next money. So how are you using these tools? Some people say, oh, AI gives you gibberish. Let me tell you the truth about AI. The truth about ChatGPT, the truth about LLM. The version you are using today is the worst version in the future. It's like the iPhone 1 or the G1 or the Nokia, those phones. The version of this thing that has errors or doesn't behave very well or gives you false answers, by tomorrow it's outdated. Yesterday, OpenAI released Sora 2, best video model ever. We at Google thought we had VO3. I don't know, I'm not speaking on behalf of Google here, but all the reviews say that Sora 2 is the best video model in the world. So tomorrow, the version of AI that will be there is going to be better than the one that's here today. ChatGPT launched, I think, in November 2022, and the world hasn't been the same since. And all the flack, all the kind of things they talked about, it, how it's useless, it's hallucinating, and it's this and that and that. That was 3 years ago. Every single day, the product, the industry has improved so fast that, yes, you can get on stage, prompt for something, and get amazing answers. You can ask it to be a safety engineer to draw an emergency rescue plan. I'm not saying that it is going to replace your doctors, your safety engineers, but it can help you get started. It can help you overcome that white screen of death. So for me, one of the most powerful things you can do today is take a step back and understand what these tools do. One of them is that they can be your thought partner. It's like having a PA that is not going to just steal ballot box for you, but like someone that can reason with you. Like you have a problem and you just, it's like having, one of the videos I watched, like having Einstein in your basement. In Nigeria, if you stay for face me, I face you, you don't get basement. It's not like maybe your neighbor, someone that is sleeping beside you, get what I'm saying? You can just reach out and say, if you are a nuclear physicist, how would you approach this? So please understand the power of the tools at our disposal. We are the greatest generation, we're the luckiest generation in human history to have everything we need, all the knowledge we need behind a text box and a button. The last company to do this was Google, when they revolutionized search, and they gave you a search button and that gave you definitive answers, links to where to go and find the information. Today, when we talk about generative AI, or when we talk about we are saying that the answers are out there, but unlike search, where we tell you, go and look for the answers, the tools these days take your instruction, go find the answers, and then they format them and deliver them to you in a personalized format, the way you requested, and you can have an ongoing conversation until you get the answers you want. So, is it possible to look at the problems around you and work with the power of artificial intelligence to build the next unicorn? Absolutely yes. Finally, next slide. There's only one thing I'm very, very, very intentional about. And for me, in all the ERs, especially when you run a company, when you run a business, when you're somebody that was always late, someone that used to miss deadlines, someone that never knew how to get started. For me, the power of artificial intelligence, the advantage, the value proposition of the tools we have today, apart from being simpler, quicker, and all that, is faster. I get stuff done absolutely faster. I had a company that used to build MVPs. And we used to build MVPs for clients in 3 months. I shut down that company. Because now, with the tools in the market, Lovable, Firebase Studio, Replit, you can build an MVP in 30 seconds. So something that used to take 3 months, so I won't go too deep, can now take 30 seconds. It wouldn't give you a perfect answer, but it will get you started and can take you very far. Thank you.